Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Bi-Conics podcast review of AEW Dynamite. This is the long-form edition. We're going to talk for about an hour or so. We are reviewing the episode from 6/28, which was just this past Wednesday, a day or two ago. We are a part of Vibe Tribe Productions. We do a lot of cool things here. We got D&D play. We have lots of podcasts. We have the normal Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast, where we vent and watch pay-per-views and talk a lot of crap. Of course, I'm here, as always, with the JVL and the tertiary, Mikey. Although Mikey is the ladder and bare bones that hold up this entire operation, so we always love
I was
Mikey
saying in our little throuple here, he's definitely the tertiary partner that we're working with in the polyamorous relationship. But
there it is.
That's where we're sitting with him at that point.
And I'm the one in the closet peeking through the door, like watching, like I'm that guy.
Well, we expect that as much. We're in the hat for it. But
there's a lot of jokes per second. Anyway, how you guys doing?
If you can't tell, John and I have been already prepped and getting Mikey going here. We're going to jump into this really quickly, though, John, because this was a packed Dynamite show.
There's a lot of stuff in here, and there was a lot of question marks.
Door.
Yes, so we're coming right off of Forbidden Door. For those of you who are keeping track, playing the home game, Forbidden Door. If you want more on Forbidden Door, watch our live reactions to it, which was awesome.
I
don't want to give anything away, but probably one of my top 5 of the year, possibly 2 of my top 5 of the year happened in Forbidden Door. I'm not going to give all of that away. Coming off Forbidden Door.
One that shouldn't have done that anyway, so that's really good. One of my favorite was on it as well, so we need to see this. Yeah. Let's see it soon.
This wasn't Blood and Guts night, but it might as well have been. It seemed like there was a lot of, before we get into every match and what was happening, there were a few moments where, hey, look, blood, and blood is telling a story. And then a few moments of, oh, God, what have you done?
And then there were at least a couple of moments of, camera guy, pan away. We're trying to get to the point where it tells a story, but you're letting us see how they do it.
Yes, there's a few of those moments as well. AEW has not fixed this cameraman problem. The cameraman is always in the right place at the wrong time, or the wrong place.
Yeah. The button gets pressed
the right
and
time.
Then right there.
Yeah.
Or the wrestlers just forget which camera's active.
I wonder if it's that, too, because it's not bad, not at all, but it's always just missing those beats or just missing that sort of, oh, that just happened. Oh, they cut away. Why are we watching this shot? So...
Canadian crew, maybe it's the Canadian crew this time. They just weren't on their game. Who knows?
Maybe the Canadian crew, and if you've been to Canada, they speak backwards and they speak French, so it's a little confusing when they're using it.
Double speak a lot of the time. It's really tough. It's just you take it in like that. But speaking of double talk and speaking of a lot of blood, we started off with one of the hardest hitting matches of the night, Tomohiro Ishii versus Jon Moxley, which reported on later was supposed to be Bryan Danielson in another dream match, but because he broke his freaking arm and wrestled for another 10 minutes, obviously couldn't do it that night. So
broke his arm, and I went back and watched after I found out, oh, it broke his arm. What? And I tried to find the moment and saw all that. And in my head, I was like, oh, broke his arm, not realizing, oh, there's 12 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like, you kept going.
Which, on one side, you think, oh, how awesome as a performer and brave you're going to do that, you're going to get through. We'll talk about this on the actual podcast.
When we get to
then I look at toxic masculinity at the same time going, dude, like, I know you're in your 40s and I know you want to keep having these major matches, but you need to still take care of yourself a bit more. Like,
sure.
Go home. I'm pretty sure no one would have cared after 20 minutes if you went home and did the same thing. But who knows?
I think that would have been great if it was that Emperor's New Groove. I just broke my forearm in 3 places. Can I go home? Anyone else? No. But doesn't that cause? We need someone smarter than us to talk about. Doesn't that cause like blood clots and permanent damage? And
it depends on the and whether it could cut up inside, catch arteries. Other than that, he could have literally probably died. More than likely.
Yeah. Nobody wants to die. Like, why would you want to do that to yourself? Even for your art.
Maybe he just wants to die in the ring. But that was Forbidden Door.
Sorry, we're tangent.
So yeah, but the connection is he was supposed to wrestle Tomohiro Ishii tonight.
There it is.
That was the whole point. But Jon Moxley filled in with his new scar from the night before from bleeding in the other match he was in to take on the Stone Pitbull in Ishii, who no-sold to an extent was so good.
So go ahead. No, go.
I'm going right to the giant elbows that were going on, and he's flipping him off as it's happening. Screw you, Moxley. This is awesome.
And I was talking to a friend of mine about this, particularly about Forbidden Door, and I was going to bring it to you all, so I'm glad you all are here.
You have other friends than us?
Not many, but maybe 1 or 2. Only 1 or 2 that speak our language, by the way, who know what we're talking about.
Yeah, the hot one.
You can no-sell someone, and it's obviously a F you, I don't like you. But in the strong style and New Japan and that style, you can no sell and it tells a story. You can no sell someone and it's, oh, you have just angered a god or whatever that is. And I didn't take the no sells as I hate you, John Moxley. I took it as you're going to have to earn it, John. You're going to have to earn it, John. I know you're better than that. And like little moments of that. Okay, I'll ask this question. This is for all of you. Was the headbutt spot, was that on purpose? Because that was blood number one, was I'm just going to headbutt you until you bleed a little.
I think that they were supposed to do a bunch of different headbutts. I don't think they were going to have him get open the hard way over his eye, but knowing how like thin Moxley's skin is up there from all of the damage he's had done over the years, they probably expected something to happen. So yeah,
sure.
They were going for blood, but I don't think they were going for like under the eye. They were probably hoping for somewhere up higher.
Just out of nowhere, like the match, if we're, I don't know, a minute or two in, and there's that headbutt thing where they're grinding foreheads together, and all of a sudden it's like, I think he's bleeding a little bit, and then pop, yep, he's bleeding now, okay.
And then Ishii starts bleeding. Like, it wasn't just Moxley, everyone's bleeding.
You get a bleed. You get a bleed.
They had to make up for it because they didn't really bleed at Forbidden Door, so they had to make up for it.
Sure, the Omega Ospreay.
Yeah.
But that was like a blood donor match.
Am I the only one, though, that watching them grinding to each other like that and making sure they could bleed that way? I'm thinking to myself, just hepatitis. I don't know why.
I thought it too.
That's what of course, my wife always catches the screen right when it's like death, blood, and gore. It's either that or some really overt, oddly sexual thing. Like, what are they doing to each other? Let me explain.
Like the Acclaim last week.
This is a Boston crab, but he slipped. What I mean is...
That's what we call a single leg crab.
Or the other six. He tucked them. Sorry,
that's a wrap.
Tangent. Nowhere near where we need to be.
I've been on that date before. Either way, this match was so hard hitting, and it started off the night setting a tone like we're not done with Forbidden Door. This is still going to go hard. And of course, you've still got the rest of the BCC standing around ringside, and you're thinking, okay, when is this going to come into play? What's going to happen? When's Claudio or Wheeler going to jump up there and like mess everything up? And who comes out to save the day? Eddie freaking Kingston.
Eddie Kingston comes on
Uncle
out.
Eddie is out to whoop some ass.
Pushes up. He's falling out of his shorts. He can't stay in them. It's just...
I don't know a lot about Eddie Kingston, like we've talked about and mentioned on the podcast. I know he was out for a while and his storylines weren't there. I kind of love this guy now.
The Mad King has had one of the best runs in AEW since his debut, mostly because not only is he a master on the mic and getting a lot of emotion behind what he's doing and giving it credence, but he's also he's passion incarnate, and he can work his ass off if you're in there with him. Except if you're Claudio Castagnoli, he'll break your fucking neck at this point. He hates that man with a fiery passion. And seeing him get set up where Claudio was on his neck with the chair, and Yuta's doing the arm bar to him. It's like they were selling that harder than it needed to be. That was definitely a little snugger than it probably should have been. And
sure, I agree.
It was crazy. But seeing him come out to even the odds and to further this storyline with Moxley, where like they are good friends, they are these things, and he's watching him while he's been gone go to this BCC place and become a whole different version of himself. This has legs beyond legs, and I'm wondering how they're going to, with Danielson out, who's the voice in his ear now, keeping him on track, like how they're going to turn that around.
I'm interested, and we've talked about this too. I think they run a danger here of writing themselves into a corner, because now they obviously know where the fans are going to want to see. We're going to want to see, it doesn't even have to be a reunion, but just some sort of, as Renee says in the spot coming up later, hey, Eddie, fix this. We're going to want to see some kind of happy reconciliation pop sort of thing. And we may or may not get one. It might be a matter of time. They might milk it for a year or two. Who knows? But with Danielson out, you wonder how far can we go with this story? How long are we going to play this? I don't hate you. I hate them. But you're not with me. You're against me. Here's a screwdriver to the face. Like, how long are we going to do that?
And Eddie bringing up the whole thing of like, you did this on your own. You're better than them. Trying to push him up. Dude, you are amazing. Why are you with these idiots? I honestly feel like, and this has been talked about in a couple of news sites, that maybe because they've got this weird like tag tournament going on now, with blind tag tournament where they're putting together people that may not be together. You stick Moxley and Kingston on a team against the BCC. All of a sudden, you've got the same thing that happened in the later match when you had Hangman and the Bucks versus the Dark Order. Like, you've got some fun drama in the ring to be able to tell a good story. So I am on board with this. I want to see where it goes. Moxley ends up beating Ishii with 2 Death Riders after getting him bloody as hell and them trading back and forth, kicking out at one of a bunch of moves. So overall, really good match. I gave it about 3.5 stars out of 5. Loved it to death. Good open.
By that, Did they switch the mat out, or did they just clean the mat in between the Kumite? Like, that thing was gross.
I'm pretty sure they put another one on top and just rolled it down. Like, there was no way to get that off and do it. They probably were ready to string another one on top of it, probably. Which
well, that's the wrestling. So if you peel back the layers of a ring, it's just histories of blood.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just like some sad kids porno mag from their room just stuck together with a bunch of blood and pus and cum and all that stuff. So yeah.
It just layered this all the way back to 87. Yeah.
There's Ric Flair's blood from 1985.
I'm sure there's someone out there who's, I need that in a jar. There's got to be some. That's got to be that WWE history show, right? Where they go for antiques.
I keep this jar in my ass at all times, so it's always safe.
This is your father's watch.
And demonetized.
And we made it this far. And just like that.
Nope, we're keeping it in.
No more ads after this point.
That been on that date. Anyway.
I love all those things are great. Some of the storytelling, I do think that before we move on, I do think Eddie Kingston is just a stronger actor and presence. I didn't buy Claudio just staring daggers at him like the whole time. Because then there came a point where Eddie just flipped that as what? I'm not worried about you. I'm watching the match. Just don't touch my buddy. And was so calm, relaxed, and casual. Makes the promos better. Just makes me want to root for the everyman. I think that's what I forgot to say. That's an everyman character, and we don't have any. Eddie Kingston's really the only everyman as far as like
the closest they have after that is Orange Cassidy.
Even though Orange Cassidy,
he's not though, but he's the closest they have other than Eddie Kingston because he is like that in peril babyface who's doing his best to do it, but he's also the cool, aloof guy, which is not everyman. It's
cool. Everyman was its own archetype. Then it would totally be like, you could do an everyman Greek play, do with sunglasses, perfect every single time.
Hands up.
Kingston, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, Kingston, to bring up your everyman, like you look back at the stuff he's done, the selling he's done, he brings everything to it. Even that like wet fart of an exploding barbed wire death match, he sold it as if it was the worst thing in the world. He made up for it, and he got chided for it because it was just basically like that went off. So
we don't talk about
it. We have to now because the game's out, and the game has that match in it that actually works.
Exploding the game version.
Exploding barbed wire death match where they replace the ropes, they electrify them, and they have like barbed wire and exploding pyro, and there's a countdown because at the end of it, if they don't get out of the ring, all this pyro goes off, and basically it's supposed to kill them in a giant explosion.
I love
it.
Japanese. When do I get to see this?
The reason that we don't see it all that often is because the two times that we've done it, it has not been the greatest.
Is this like a
the original Japanese ones are amazing.
The original Japanese ones,
right?
yes.
It's worse than Daffy Duck. It's literally, think about like 4 kids on the ring posts with sparklers, and that was it because the pyro guys didn't time it, and so no pyro went off, and it was literally a wet fart. And Eddie Kingston had gone in to cover Moxley, and like he covered him with his body because he knew he couldn't get him out of the ring, and so that was the whole thing.
And then they both acted like they just been decimated. It was so corny. I felt so bad, and even Eddie Kingston, he made fun with it the weeks later during the promos. That shit was whack.
Yeah.
That's up there with the blood missing Kevin Nash, where it's just, it's all over him. Blow, right next to him.
Of course. Speaking of good promos, because Eddie Kingston brought up and good promos after that, we had the best promo of the night. This is how you do it. And this was semi-live, probably was pre-taped, but came off as live. Adam Cole comes in, Renee Paquette sees him, he gets out of a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I'm like, ooh, they're not spending money on their vehicles. Good for them. So he gets out of the Grand Cherokee. And then nearly gets run over, but yet not because they slowed down enough way beforehand by MJF in a giant Tahoe, which is like red and everything else. And he's buddy with Adam Cole because they've been paired up in the blind tag tournament as a tag team.
I thought this was hysterical. I thought this was it was a trope, and it was, I don't want to say obvious, that's not what I mean, but it's like we've seen this story tell out this way before. MJF sold it so well. It was so funny. And Adam Cole's a fantastic straight man. Just played that straight. Switched roles. We saw Adam Cole last week do like the buddy, I'm going to play you, and MGF is the straight. And I thought that would have hit. This was far more interesting and elaborate. And they have a T-shirt made, which people are going to buy.
I want that T-shirt so
it's
badly.
A great T-shirt. Even if this storyline goes nowhere, you can be like, hey, for a month, this T-shirt was relevant and funny as hell.
Exactly.
I think there's a cool opportunity. Go ahead. There's a great opportunity here to do vignettes of them on the road together, and I hope they take it. I hope it's them in a dive bar. I hope it's them at a liquor store. I hope it's them driving from Canada to Vegas. There's so much you can do.
with Roddy Strong, aka generic white guy, like standing in the rain in the window. Just
hey, generic white guy. So I need to talk to you instead.
What's up with generic white guy?
MJF's still one of the funnier and better heels in all of professional wrestling. I hope they go full Tommy Boy with this. I hope they go full Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. Make it funny. Because then by the time that match happens,
right?
If there's a betrayal, we'll hate MJF even more. But if we get that hint of maybe somewhere deep down, the Grinch's heart grew 3 times that day, like some kind of like, maybe they're almost friends. Maybe they almost save each other. I don't know. That could be fun.
Will Adam Cole believe the bullshit finally after it took so long?
He finally believed the bullshit.
But then we move on from that wonderful promo and that amazingness. Renee was doing like triple duty. She's hustling all over the thing here.
Everywhere.
Talking to her husband and the BCC. And he's not talking about what's going on with Eddie. They got to fix this, that whole thing. Renee is basically, they're turning it into a shoot almost, like using their relationship because they don't talk about it that often. So it's huge to see that done on camera, especially with the on-camera talent. And that's really interesting.
I like that too. Again, and this is wrestling has a history of putting people's personal lives right in the middle of the live show. I don't know if I totally agree with that Strasbourg shit, but it sells tickets. It's storyline. It's something palpable that they can use. We were talking about this before we started. So Renee does not like the fact that John is always messing up his face. Renee is not happy with that.
It's not even the face. She doesn't understand why he has to bleed every match. And like to the point that he does where he basically looks like he loses about a pint of blood every time.
Yeah.
So I can see that as that's the father of your child and you need him to come home and he's got stitches and everything else. You don't want to be seeing that every night, I'm assuming. Meanwhile, you could see that he had some healing scars before he went to the match with Ishii and he just reopened all of them. They're all back open. Everything's going. He had to get stitches from this one, apparently. That's what they were talking about.
There comes a point where it just cracks like a windshield. Like it just, because the skin and vessels there are just so thin. And I don't know, man. I feel like they have an arrangement where I'll bleed once a month because he's not doing it every match now.
He bleeds almost every week, like whether intentional or not. He is usually bloody. He bleeds going to the ring. Like I just like he somehow like breathes and starts bleeding. Like
he's going to be participating in blood and guts in 3 weeks. That's going to be bad.
The amount of
getting stabbed in the court.
I hope there's a few IVs there because someone's going to need to eat a cookie when they're done.
Luckily, where they're doing it, there's a Red Cross station like 2 doors down, so they can just go in and raid the pantry and go back upstairs.
I hope so. Moving on, we went from there to the trios match, which I enjoyed. There were some interesting moments here. We'll talk about the big one in a second. We had Orange Cassidy, Keith Lee, and Vikingo.
Hijo del Vikingo.
Thank you.
Which getting him in as their third, not announced. I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be insane. It's going to be a spot botch fest and be amazing.
This was versus JAS, Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, and Angelo Parker. I didn't know how this came about, so I loved the promo of just seeing them like, hey, you want to be in a match? Yeah. Nobody else wants to fight me. And then El Hijo being right behind him. What? Okay. Just being cool with it. I thought that was great.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Go ahead.
No, he's just super cool. And I love the JAS team is amazing. Watching Daniel Garcia fight his way through being a sports entertainer, trying to look like he is one and being the technician that he is. And underrated team, talk about it. It's Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, Magic Matt and everyone else. They're great on the mic and they are really good when they're actually let loose in rings. So seeing them with people that wanted to work with them, so much fun.
I thought they had fun. Like it felt like they were having fun to be there.
Except for that giant botch, but yes.
So let's talk about it. Because before
we get into that, I would have loved to hear what Daniel Garcia and the rest of the JAS had to say, but I couldn't hear them over that promo because all I could hear was Tony Schiavone talking over them.
Yep. Oh, totally.
Tony Schiavone. I don't know if any of you have seen the Boondock Saints, but in the Boondock Saints, there's a character called Fuck Ass, and Fuck Ass is called Fuck Ass because every now and then Fuck Ass says Fuck Ass. Now we're really demonetized. Tony Schiavone basically has this strange wrestling Tourette's, and I'm probably in real life has no problem. But if there's an exclamation point or something he has to say, that's Sting! Like out of nowhere, just goes, bah, bah, just says these words out loud. Like he can't control the volume of his voice.
It's the same way JR used to be until he just stopped doing it. Like Tony and him were doing the same thing in the 90s. It's that 90s announcer gig. But we'll get to this. The major botch of the night, the cameraman focused that Keith Lee had dyed his hair again. Seriously, why would you get that close to a man's head? He looks great as a silver fox, and he dyed it, and it looked blue. And I'm like, this is just a mess up of the night.
I think that was a nod to, and this is other stories. I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast so far. I think that was a nod to what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Ciampa.
What's his name?
What's
Ciampa,
his name?
yeah.
Ciampa, who had to dye, who was told by Vince to dye their beard tonight for the match because Vince has gray hair. I thought that was a subtle, like, people dyeing their hair, like, I heard you, I saw you, because normally I love me, the Salt and Pepper Keith. Like, it's gorgeous. But like, there's a part of me that my mind went to that, and I was like, I wonder if that was a subtle sort of, I see you.
He had to do it in WWE as well. When he was in NXT and everything else, he had to dye it too. So he knows all about that. I just figured we were talking about the biggest botch of the night. That was the only one I could see, was that giant botch of seeing a man's dye job. There was nothing else in this match. It was a botch. Nothing else.
There was this moment where it looked like Hijo was supposed to jump over the ropes and Keith was supposed to catch him. And when Keith caught him, he was supposed to catch him and pick him up into this powerbomb sequence and then use him as, I don't know, like a bat, maybe more of a paddle, and paddle the other two guys away. Like,
they did that.
He caught him. Bam, bam.
They did do that. He got knocked in the head.
They did that, but they added a step in the middle. The step in the middle they added was, instead of catching him, it was falling to the ground and hitting the history eraser button on the back of the head, the sort of thing where all your childhood memories are. Bam! So he hit that first. Wow.
And then there was also a kick to the face to Keith Lee at the same time, giving him stars as well.
Because it would only be fair to, you got hit in the head, so I got to get hit in the head too. So they kind of went, caca. And that's what sells that moment, and why for about 30 seconds they look like they're back in 1985 and they don't know what year it is. And then Keith Lee just goes, I'm gonna pick you up anyway, picks him up anyway, and then does what the original plan was.
Which, albeit, is a wonderful spot, and I love they used Vikingo like that, because why not?
Wonderful spot.
But that was a nasty and scary bump, and I could see him landing around the back of his neck, and I'm like, okay.
I was very scared for Vikingo. I do think he injured his neck. I didn't see any reports. I went to go look for it.
He was wobbly at the end there, yeah.
When I watched it and slowed it down, it definitely looked like that upper neck and head hit hard. And then you see the foot come down right on Keith, too. Ooh, that didn't look good. Keith has an accidental take to the camera. Where he's,
I'm like, please protect the Triple A champion, because we're supposed to get him versus Kenny in a couple of weeks. So let's protect this poor kid.
Yeah. But to go back to that, Vikingo has been told multiple times, like, your style is going to kill you or leave you in a hospital bed. Like, you need to slow down, and he doesn't. He chooses to wrestle this style that he does, and he's probably just doing it because I know I'm going to make my money in 3 years, and then I'm going to never move again because I'll just be a legend somewhere else, and that's about it. But
I do
take notes, Darby.
There's a part, Darby.
My God,
I think that there's
the back bump he took in that match.
I think if Vikingo can tone it just a little to where it's controlled. I think last night it was a little wild, and it was, I'm going to do this quickly as opposed to I'm going to do this soundly.
He does it quickly in every match. There was the 630 he did in the Kenny Omega match where he caught the back of his head on the ring apron, as we all know, the hardest part of the ring, trying to hit a table outside. Like, there's a judgment in the air that he just goes for it and doesn't judge completely.
Sure.
And so there's room for him to basically miss every time.
If he went at 80%, the audience wouldn't notice.
Oh, no, definitely.
He wants to go at 100. If you went at 80, we wouldn't notice. We would still go, that was amazing. If it's a less of a quarter turn, if it's 3/4 less of a full that, we're not going to go, oh, he missed it. Because now, again, I'm disassociated. I'm not watching the match. I'm worried about your safety. And once that happens, it's really hard to win me back, because the next few minutes of that match, I was like, I think Keith will be okay. I hope he's okay. And every time I caught a glimpse of him, it was like, oh my God, I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. Now I'm worried about you.
And look at the rest of people. Like, Orange Cassidy had an amazing match, did his job the best. He was all over there. Keith definitely was feeling some effect of it later on, especially the ending of the match. I think there may have been a spot Vikingo was supposed to be in that he just wasn't there for, which then Keith just went into the whole thing with that. But they pulled it out there. The other spot of this match I loved was, and you can only do this when you have Keith Lee in the ring, is Daniel Garcia dancing on his back and then getting
flipped so off. Good.
So good.
It was so good. That felt like kids playing in a pool, right? Where there's someone on your back and then they fall on your back and then you top. Physics be damned. This should not work. But Keith can do that because Keith can bend time.
Yes, he can. He is supernatural.
He is supernatural. He is such a large man. He can use his own gravity to just do remarkable things.
He truly is the Carl Sagan of wrestling.
Carl Sagan came back as Keith Lee?
Yes, completely.
That would be amazing.
Let me introduce you to my cosmos.
This is a tangent, but that would be an amazing Get Out too. If Carl Sagan is in Keith Lee. Keith Lee slowly realized someone takes a picture of Keith Lee. And Keith goes, "Oh man, run! No!" And it's actually Carl Sagan in his body.
Why we run?
Why do I talk like this? No, Carl Sagan, get out of my head.
But getting back to the match at hand, sorry. This was a 3-star match for me just because of the botches that were a little bit off there and also just the worry. But overall, a fun match that I would watch pretty much on every night. But a great way to like palate cleanse, come back from the other stuff, and honestly, great performance going into it, going into the next tag tournament. I think they have a lot of stuff set up that's going to be a lot of fun.
It was great. It was fun. Moving on. Okay, here we go. We have the Hangman, Adam Page, and Young Bucks.
The Hung Bucks.
Hung Bucks, even.
I love telling my friend that was their tag team.
Hung Bucks?
Yeah,
you just have to say it and never explain. Just be like, yeah, they're the Hung Bucks, and never tell them what it really was.
This promo was fun because the girls are fighting.
Hey!
Oh, wow. It's like little brothers, too. Oh, man, you were in our gang for a while. You were on our baseball team, and now you're on another baseball team, and we were there for you when they didn't like you, and now you're with the cool kids. What the hell, man?
Yeah. I'm going to go on. I don't know a lot of the Dark Order history. I was texting y'all about it, trying to get a little bit of an update. I love Hangman. I think Hangman's great. I think Hung Bucks are an incredible tag team as well. I think Dark Order is solid. The little bits and things I've seen, okay, great. I thought the match was fine. I didn't buy anything they did. Some of the... I don't want to say anything they did. I bought the last few minutes where it was like, wow, look, blood and guts and gore. It felt a little forced. I definitely got that in the promo that Hangman Adam Page was definitely like, okay, I'm torn between you two. I thought you were my friends. But the Dark Order came off as just like whiny friends.
Yep.
It didn't come off as, like you said, like you used to be on our team and then you changed schools and now you're on their team and now we don't like you. It didn't come off as genuine betrayal or we left you. It just fell flat to me. So then I think, that could be just me. Maybe I'll rewatch it and look. Hangman Adam Page came off like I have to force this a little bit. I have to push this because you're coming off childish, and I have to push this as adult, and it didn't quite line up. So I think Adam Page was more in it than the Dark Order were, and that's where it started. I felt a little flat to me.
And they were doing heavy lifting on this too, because Dark Order's been floating around in this place where they're on a couple different shows. They were an amazing, huge group for a while, and then they've just lost people piecemeal, whether by death, by people joining other things in other companies like ROH or anything else, or just stuff like that. And so they needed a heel turn basically here if they're going to be on TV dealing with him. You saw that setting the Bucks up to be the baby faces in this, so you have to make the Dark Order heel. They had to do heelish things. And honestly, Evil Uno, for as goofy as he is usually, as a heel is so disturbing and fun. And his moveset is so...
Who is that? Do we know who that person really is?
Uno.
Is that who they've always been?
Yes, it's always who he's been.
Wow, I thought they were great.
Yeah, Evil Uno he's a giant nerd too. Like watching.
He's been the one who's been like the face for advertising the video game that came out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
He's been going to all the video game conferences and like doing all the streams and stuff like that.
I gotta go check. I didn't check the game. I gotta check the game today and see what the price is on PlayStation.
I gotta check the same thing as I want to get. But him, Johnny Hungy, who I love, John Silver, giant jacked little guy. And Alex Reynolds is like the most like milquetoast of the three of them. He's good and he's a serviceable wrestler, but like in general, he's just the workworkhorse to get beat up because.
And again, no disservice to them. They're all great wrestlers. They were all great wrestlers. Technically, I liked the match. The story of it, I was like, I don't.
Because they've been sitting on this story for too long, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sure.
Because they moved the Dark Order over to Ring of Honor, where they've been feuding with Stu Grayson, who used to be part of their thing, and I forget.
And they're the face. They're in the face in that one, so that one's a bit of a whiplash. By the way, that match is happening tonight, not a Death Before Dishonor that I thought was going to happen.
Mikey, you and I are going to be watching that soon.
So wait, so they're arguing.
We're going to review it tomorrow. Check it out.
They're arguing the same thing with somebody else? You left our gang?
No, they're not arguing with somebody else. What ended up happening in that one, and watch the ROH reviews, we've talked about this because, John, those are the promos I want to go over you with, the terrible promos in ROH.
Oh my God, they're horrible.
That's why I stopped watching. I watched 2 weeks ago and went, what is happening?
And that was it got worse. But so what happened is this guy, Stu Grayson, used to be basically, there was tag teams within Dark Order. Stu Grayson was the right-hand man to Evil Uno, who was like this barbarian guy that would flip and do stuff, and then Uno would come in and like to be the power moves. He got recruited by the cult leaders of, and I cannot remember the name of their group, which was the Righteous. He got recruited there, and they don't know where his things lie there either, but that's new. That's new for them, having just lost a member. Hangman literally ditched them, did this, like said, I have to go do this, and then they were off TV for a month. Like, there was a little storyline brewing, then they went off and did this thing with the Hung Bucks, and then they've just found now to be the time to continue that little bit of story. So now it's going to be like where they had people being, when they had DIY come up in WWE, where they were against each other and heel, like bitter rivals in NXT, and they came up as a tag team in WWE at the same time. And it was like, what?
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. But good match overall. The ending match and the Hung Bucks won. Obviously, it was going to happen, but the Dark Order beat them down afterwards. Kind of left them out to bit. They were upset. The BCC returns again because can't have anything else without John Moxley coming in with fresh stitches and to beat up everyone there, all the Hung Bucks and everything else. Eddie Kingston comes back out to try to help the Bucks. He gets beat up, and you have that great shot of Kingston on his back holding everything else, Adam Page bleeding from the head, and the Dark Order just walk up and say, you've done this yourself. We wash our hands of you. We're done.
Sure.
And backing away from it. And they announce, when I'm in the fucking Netherlands,
July 19th.
July 19th in Boston, blood.
I'll make sure to live stream and be like, hi, so look what you're missing.
Dude, I'm going to try to watch it. I'll just be 6 hours ahead. It'll be like the middle of the night for me. It'll be fun.
Yeah, but in the Netherlands, everything's free. Like, you don't have to pay for it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, sure.
And you're also in the frickin' Netherlands.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. But yes.
I thought I wanted more from that Pontius Pilate. I washed my hands of this moment, though. I saw the cinematic cameraman. Here's the bleeding friend looking like Jesus as his Pontius Pilate friends walk away. The metaphor works. Yeah. And then I don't know. This is just me as a storytelling person, and I'll rant at this and I'll cap this, and it won't be 30 minutes.
Oh, cap it.
You got to have the reverence of, that's our friend. If I'm at you for leaving us, there's still a part of me that likes you. There's still a part of me that loves you, right? It can't just be, I hate you. You never hate someone for no reason. There's still a part of me that wishes you were there and you ruined this good thing. And that's why breakups happen or whatever. So there's still a part of me So seeing you bleed and hurt, I want you to sit, don't just turn your back and walk away. I want to see a moment of them staring at you. Yep, that happened to you, didn't it? And now the choice of, do I walk away or do I help you? No, I've made the choice to walk away. And I think they made it too easy. They just went, yeah, that sucks. Bye. Like, it's not.
And if you were just turning into AEW this week, you're definitely right. That if this is the first interaction which you have had with this, totally. If you have been watching for the past almost year when they were bringing this up, love you so much, there was a couple of different times when the Bucks and he were beat up and the BCC was kicking the crap out of him, and it wasn't Eddie Kingston that came out, it was Uno, and everyone else cleared the ring. They came out to save Adam Page, and he never thanked them. He hugged the Bucks and everything else and never said anything about it. It was an assumed help. And so there was that building story until they took some time off where it was like, we're still helping you. We're still your friends, but you're not hanging out with us. You're not taking the time to thank us for this. And so I could see this working. Like for me, having watched it, I was like, oh, I see that. So him looking at them and going, you made this choice, was like, yeah, this is finally, you're done saving his ass. But you coming in straight off and not knowing anything about the Dark Order or anything else, definitely this could be that was quick. That seems like it was just like a turn of the thing really quickly.
See, even if all it would have taken was a beat for BCC and Dark Order to look at each other and then walk away, as opposed to just the moment they walked in, go, meh, and leave. Right. Some sort of acknowledgement. Are we going to fight? Or are we going to not? Or are you going to do it this time? This time, no. This time we decided to leave. Anything. But
I also wonder if they're setting the beat up for both Adam Page and Eddie Kingston to feel that loss of friend. Like they both lost a friend. That's why they're connected now. Who knows?
But I felt the Eddie Kingston one. Maybe because of the stuff earlier I bought so much so.
Definitely.
All right. I'll talk at rank about that at length, and I don't want to.
You're doing great. Right. I love it so far. But we're moving on to generic white guy, which is awesome.
So generic white guy's backstage.
Who this man?
Who this man?
I did not like this promo.
We had no need. Why did we have the first 20 seconds of this promo? We didn't need it.
Because he doesn't watch the TV show. He doesn't watch the TV show. He really doesn't.
We just needed MGF going, hey, buddy, get in the car. Oh, God. Good luck tonight. Bye. That's all we needed.
I think they wanted to have MJF have an LA Knight moment because of how LA Knight got to rag on Logan Paul last week. They wanted to have MJF have that zinger one-liner LA Knight did to be able to like everyone remembers it. Hey, what's with generic white guy? Anyways, we're moving on. We're getting in. Come on, buddy, we're going.
That might have been they might have wanted to give him a line there. I feel that. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
And I wanted more. Maybe it's just me. I wanted the Tommy Boy vignettes to start right then. Here we go driving to this club.
You got to stretch it, though. You got to stretch it because they should do them after they win, too. Like, they win a match in that blind tag tournament, and they're celebrating because they won. And then they're doing this. Oh, they're worried. They're strategizing in some hotel room. And there's Roderick Strong standing outside the door crying. And then you've got, like, a bunch... Like, Roderick Strong doing generic white guy things like sipping coffee, making a protein shake. Like, he's just in the background because they're staying together in the same room, but MJF showed up. There's so many ways you could go with this.
Roderick Strong's got to be the one that sleeps in the bathroom while they get the beds. Like, he pokes his head out. Can I get a bed? No. All right. He's in the tub.
This is literally where, like, I want them to pull in real life partners as well, because Roderick Strong is married to Marina Shafir, who's working with Nyla Rose right now. So have them, like, randomly pan around to both of them, like, out of kayfabe, just sitting in, like, guys, we're trying to have breakfast. Something fun.
It's such a good buddy cop opportunity, right? So good. I really hope they do something with it. They gotta go. They gotta go shopping, and they gotta have Adam Cole
for
dress
matching
up
Burberry like scarves.
Yeah, like MJF dresses him up. Like, now that's how you gotta look. And
I swear, if we get matching scarves at some point, I will forever be like best feud 2023.
If this is going till Christmas, that's got to be the present, right? It's got to be opening the present, and
we're all going to get MJF scars for Christmas.
Oh no! I feel like this is going to get them at least till All In London. Like, this is going to be the big London match,
or All Out, one of the two.
All in, all out, all aboard, all over it, all together now.
All year.
No, I told you this last week, Professor. No, we're not
all around the world.
It works. All the pay-per-views got to start with all for AEW.
All the pay-per-views.
It's just funny.
All laundry detergent. Yeah, we're going fine. It's good.
We'll talk about this later. But I have questions
about
these other pairs in this blind eliminator tournament. I'm like,
go ahead, talk about
opportunities.
Yeah, talk about it. Putting Keith Lee and Swerve back together, like, I understand.
Immediately,
like,
I was like,
they haven't finished their story yet. Like,
here's what I would have done. This is high fantasy booker here. So this is what I would have done.
Here we go.
I would have switched Orange and Swerve. So you put Swerve with Darby and Orange with Keith. And I was just like, I feel like that would be better. I was like, why? Listen, I was like, AEW, this is the do or die time. Whatever is going to happen in this tournament, you need to pull the trigger on Swerve versus Keith Lee, because I thought we were getting that, and then it just went away.
It's also become stale a lot. Like, it's not ready to go anymore. They need to build it back up. This is not the way to do it, but I don't know. There are some interesting pairings. I will go through for another one. I think for the podcast itself, we should go through the pairings up for this damn tournament, because I think all of us need to weigh on this. The other two guys definitely need to jump in and be like, what the living hell is going on here? Because I love the concept. You always have, like, during the year where you have people thrown together tag teams, make it a tournament of just random tag teams. Yes. Then you get it all out of the way. You get these wonderful stories out of it, and you get some fun tag team wrestling out of it too. It's going to be so good.
I think it's...
We're
talking about this. I think it's muddy if it's in the middle. Right?
Yeah.
If it's got to be all the way, it's got to be Orange Cassidy in the locker room going, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, okay, cool. What about you? Yeah, sure. I buy that. Or I buy, we've been friends forever, or we trained at the same dojo, or we're in a cult together, or we go to parties together, or whatever other tag team. Here's the reason why we're friends, and here's why we're taking on the world. We play video games, and we're happy. Whatever it is. If it's in the middle, then it gets muddy, because now... it's like, you're from over here, and you over here, and you don't work, and there you go. But why?
They already... Yeah, go ahead.
I would say it seems like a lot of the teams they put together are like, we have these people in a feud already. Let's just stick them on a tag team and see if they explode, instead of, like, actually building stuff. That's the thing I'm worried about.
Which can end poorly.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay, we're going to talk about this.
So, that 70s show came out.
We got to talk about Hyde from that 70s show, kicking in the door and changing.
I can't unsee it now, thanks to you.
If you haven't seen this, go type in Hyde that 70s show and then get a picture of Jungle's boy, Jack Perry, and put those together. It's a little too accurate. I could show. Yeah.
I made the joke also that he definitely raided his dead dad's wardrobe from 90210. That's the other.
No, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, there's a 90s costumer who's all upset about this. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, okay.
And that's also sad that I don't want to be giving that actor who played Hyde any credit because he is a horrible human being.
He's a horrible person. And this was a horrible promo.
This wasn't a promo. This was like, I know I've got to get something across. I still don't have intensity on camera. I applaud him for trying. He at least tried to, but he did too many look arounds. Like, I'm trying to remember the line, I would
agree. I would say he took the risk. And I can honor him for taking the risk and going out there going, I don't know how this is going to feel. I'm going to go for it and do something new because it was about time he did.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I don't necessarily like the way this heel turn thing is going, but it needed to happen. We had to kill this strange character. Which, mind you, I don't even think of the song. I'm of a certain age where I think of a Listerine commercial that always interrupted my cartoons, so I get even more angry when I hear the song.
So you're not waving your hands, you're spitting in a sink?
No, I'm like, come on, get back to this show. That's a joke for anyone over 38.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yay! Sorry, Mikey. We're older than you. So
it's a tough sell because they've done this turn too fast. There was no build up to him turning.
Am I wrong in thinking? Are we wrong in thinking that? Was it too fast?
No, literally. This was a crap. We have nothing for you after the Four Pillars match. We've been meaning to turn you heel for a while, even though we turned your partner heel against you, and he's with Christian Cage. So now they're both heel, but they can't be heel together in the way they worked well together. And we want you to go for a title, but you're not good enough to go for the title yet. So we're going to send you for a title that no one recognizes that has basically been a big albatross around Hook's neck because he's literally Taz's son.
It just felt arbitrary. It
was. This is my next match. I will do this next.
Perry looks at the camera and says, am I turning my back on you or did everyone turn their back on me? And then you look around and go, nobody turned their back on you.
They got up to do your song. Like, you decked Hook and you're still going to do it.
Mikey's having a mild aneurysm talking about this. Mikey, what are your thoughts? Go. Go, Mikey, go.
I'm trying to just be the tech person, but this was...
No, you have opinions. They matter.
You're the tertiary in this throuple. Come on.
All right. So the best way to describe this promo, this was a promo that happened where words were said, is the best way I could describe.
People were conscious while I was speaking.
And he mildly looked down the camera lens when he felt comfortable enough, but it wasn't enough time to make it intense.
Oh, he also let us know that he is banging the hottest woman in the AEW locker room. I'm like, I beg to differ.
So, again,
Hannah J's not bad.
My wife checks in periodically, and she sat down on the couch for this.
Oh my god!
She's actually, I'll give her all the credit. She's the one that said, "Why is he looking like Hyde?" And I went, what? Oh my god! And I got on the phone and did that, put the layout together. Oh my god, you're right. Look, and she's like, this guy. So I had to explain. Actually, that's Perry's son, and she was like, "Oh god, is it? Yeah, no, that's him.
That's literally him.
Yeah,
he's trying.
He's doing something."
Okay.
Go get him. Go.
Let me just air my grievances. This was, like I said, this was a promo that happened where words were said. I have such a big issue with what we're doing here because all of a sudden I was like, okay, let's rewind the clock back to after Double or Nothing, right? So Darby takes the pin, so Jungle Boy and Sammy don't take the pin in that match, so that everything's okay. So I was like, okay, cool. All of a sudden, Jungle Boy is teaming up with Hook. I'm like, okay, we're getting the tag team of Jungle Hook for a little bit. All right, cool.
Such a strange, goofy name.
I didn't understand the pairing, but I was like, you know what? That's fine.
Nothing will be as good as Hookhausen. I'm sorry. It just won't.
No, Danhausen and Hook.
Danhausen and Hook.
Are Hook and Jack Perry actually friends?
They could be.
Because out of nowhere, in the promo coming coming into Double or Nothing or Forbidden Door, somewhere in there was a promo where it goes, "Look, man, you're my best friend." And then in my head, that was the only time I've ever seen them together in the history of anything.
This is where my grievances begin. So they get teamed together, and then we get nothing from them leading into Forbidden Door. And then 2 weeks before, we get Sonata's, I'm holding this open challenge. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see who is going to answer Sonata.
Sammy Guevara. No.
I'm going to be honest. To be perfectly honest, I would have taken honestly, I love Jungle Boy, and this is going to be a travesty to say, but I really would have taken anybody else on the AEW roster, shit, even the Ring of Honor roster over Jungle Boy, because it makes no sense. And I'm like, I'm siding with Sonata here when he says it's disrespectful for this nobody to be wrestling for the the World Heavyweight Championship for IWGP. And then we don't get a hint. I was like, okay, I honestly thought Hook was gonna turn on Jungle Boy. This is what I would have done to make it narratively make somewhat semblance of some sanity, right?
Well, that's
I would have actually put Sonata, even if it was a squash match, Sonata versus Hook instead of Jungle Boy. And leading up, be like, all right, Jungle Boy wants this opportunity. Hook wants this opportunity. You two fight it out. You're best friends. May the better man win. Hook beats Jungle Boy, wins. Jungle Boy has some feelings of resentment, but he wants to be the best friend. But then building to Forbidden Door, Jungle Boy's like, okay, you know what? You see just him deteriorate in his patience level and everything. Sure. Then we get to Forbidden Door. Hook loses, regardless whether it's a squash or a decent match, or even Jungle Boy just gets fed up because everyone's cheering for Hook instead of
make that the heel turn, right? Have Jungle Boy interfere with the match then, and then we get surprised by it.
Back it up even farther. Make it even simpler. It's not even it's literally they both get put up for the match. Sonata picks Hook because he's an actual champion.
There you go. Yeah.
Then you've got Jungle Boy going, wait a minute, I'm a better wrestler. That's not a recognized belt. All this stuff, like, why do you want him? He's a champion. You're not good enough.
There you go. We get the Aaron Burr, Alexander Hamilton thing.
Exactly. There's reason to be there. That he cost him the match at Forbidden Door. Then you have this whole thing, and you still can have Jungle Boy diving into an Escalade and flying out the damn ring thing. So
I will say that part was actually pretty fun.
The funniest part of that bit,
without breaking a sweat, he's run dive. It zooms
he was
off
so fast.
My wife. So two things. My wife was laughing at the fact that they go straight Benny Hill and run through a whole audience. One, two. That poor security guard who was simply told, "Stand by this car, don't move," and he went, "Okay," and then Hook smashes a trash can into the back of his leg. Yeah, he's like, "What's happening?" Like he didn't know what was going on that night.
And he was actual security for the venue. You could tell too. Like he wasn't like a made up one. So he's like, "I'm gonna have to clean that up now, man."
Poor dude's like, "Why would you do that?" Has no concept of what's going on around him.
Can I also say for that too? How fast is Jungle Boy? Like he got a like
cardio was amazing.
He just like outpaced Hook by nothing. Hook's oh crap, I gotta run.
He outran the spotlight. The spotlight dude was trying to catch. Like, oh Jesus, he's gone.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
And the guys the guys in commentary are like, we're gonna get a camera back there, and they're like, we've already lost him. We can't find him anymore. He's too fast.
Which I don't think that tells the right story though. That tells the story of I hate my friend. I want to beat up my friend's here. I gotta go, and then run a mile away from my friend.
They're calling him a chicken shit who speaks. His words mean nothing, which kind of fits what they're doing with Jungle Boy right now because he can't back shit up anyway. So make him a chicken shit heel.
That's fine, I guess.
I don't know. Combined with Luchasaurus,
who's
going to turn babyface on Christian Cage.
In my opinion, there is one way to save this. In my opinion, there is one way to save this.
You're right. Blow up Jungle Boy in the Escalade. Yep, just like Vince McMahon. I got it.
That's one option, but the other option...
Boy, have a tile that says Jungle Boy died going back to his home planet, and then we never
My biggest problem here is that I'm so afraid that this is already a paper-thin feud, but I'm so afraid that we're only going to get one or two matches, and then that's it. I was like, okay, let's try to... We know Hook can go, and with the right person in the ring, both of them, this could actually be fun. The way I could see this saving this is if it somehow turns into a random 3-on-3 where Jungle Boy goes back to Luchasaurus and Christian Cage now that he is a heel, and then those reunite as a heel, but I don't think they're going to do that.
Jurassic Express versus Hookhausen. That's all I want to say.
That's really what I want. Hook is having a hard time because all of a sudden, like, Luchasaurus and Christian somehow find a way to nose into this business, but they're preoccupied right now because it seems that Wardlow's not done with them yet.
Is this a tangent? If this is a tangent, neither of you have to answer this question, but we talked about it a little bit on Forbidden Door. If the Taz and Hook WWE Vince McMahon rumors and whispers on the Reddit and various places are true, I haven't looked a lot at them because they're monosyllabic people talking and yelling at each other. But if they're true,
Minnie.
There comes a point where it's
damn.
I love you, Minnie.
I love him too. We're throwing shade back and forth on our own shows.
That was really funny. But it's people. You can't tell if they're actual rumors or if they're people just barking, and then every now and then someone picks it up.
No, that's Ishii.
If that's an actual thing, where does this even go? This will be exactly like you said, Mikey. It'll be 2 or 3 matches. Hook and Taz are gone. That's it. Then why did we do this?
Because I honestly think internally, we're all trying. Everyone's, at least the people in charge, they're trying to figure out who's going on what shows. I know Tony has said that we're not going to do a brand split. I'm like, but Tony, hear me out. You don't have to do a brand split, but you should probably look at your roster, figure out, okay, you're going to go to these 2 shows. These 2 shows, Rampage will save you for like something. Like Rampage can be like your house show circuit. That's where house show matches can go. And honestly, it's been better because since Rampage has been used to just showcase talent from New Japan, which has been a lot of fun, not gonna lie.
You're already brand splitting. Like, you're already doing it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like...
It's a good problem to have. You have so many viewers. You have so many people that want to watch. And now you have an opportunity to do it better than WWE, and that now you can organize your soap operas accordingly, as opposed to just clusterfuck them all together.
You can, narratively speaking...
on the podcast.
Yes, which we'll talk more at length with the next couple of episodes because we're running on a tangent. But honestly, yeah, I feel like Jungle Boy did track in high school. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Look at his body. He does cardio. Look at him.
Yeah, but he was faster than anybody like that. But honestly, I don't think they needed the promo. They didn't need anything to do this. They could have shortened it completely, had Jungle Boy piss off Hook, jump in the Escalade, get that thing where he jumps full on, and then have Taz get upset. Could have done it, no problem.
And we can move on. I'll say this last thing, and then Mikey, if you have one too, we could just to tail of this. I think whoever feel like he had hope writing this, whoever helps MJF or anyone, like there's some lines in here that I genuinely am like,
nobody talks like that.
Nobody talks like that. And if you're gonna say that, you better really have the acting and the rhetoric down to sell some of those lines. And the fact that they called it Toronto and everyone got mad because it's not really Toronto. You're about an hour away in Hamilton.
I'm like, it's Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Toronto, boo, we already don't like you.
And then, of course, Toronto and Wildfire, because let's bring that up at the same time. Very Vince McMahon type of promo.
The next segment will only take a couple minutes anyways, because this was a squash match.
One women's match on the card.
So, okay, I had to explain a squash match to my wife.
Squash match where Sasquatch gets in and just, okay.
Oh, Lord.
So what you do is you get in a Jeep with 5 guys and you buy a PBR. You drive up the mountain, you yell at the moon, it's glorious, and then you ski team. I don't know why this was such a...
Why are you doing this, Mikey? Don't do this.
No, okay, let me put this in perspective because the Professor Todd...
Someone's going to gift this.
No, see, here's the problem. Well, my video feed's not going to be on this review. Yours is now, apparently. No, but see, I'm not the one who started that whole thing across here because when we were doing the SmackDown review, Professor, myself, and Minnie, that was Professor saying we were talking about Pretty Deadly, I think, and it was just like the ski team, and then proceeds to do that.
Yes, boys.
We were talking about Paul Heyman and the Usos. And why is there so much Schadenfreude here? And I said, because Paul Heyman's a ski team captain. And the fact that JVL straight up went, Mikey, what are you doing? When I've incepted that into Mikey's brain. That's fantastic.
That's Professor's fault, just making it clear.
But moving on to things that we didn't think we'd be talking about, the one women's match on Dynamite. Again, we had another illness out. Britt Baker couldn't be there for their match in the Owen Hart tournament.
What happens? So I was like,
they said it's flu. They said that she caught it from Adam Cole. So obviously, because he's better after 4 or 5 days, she wasn't.
What?
So Adam Cole had flu-like symptoms on
Forbidden Door. That's why his match with Tom Lawler got canceled.
And what they've said now is Britt Baker caught whatever he had. So he had gotten better by Wednesday. From Sunday, she still was in the throes of whatever this was. Okay. So they won't name it as something more than flu, but it was flu-like symptoms, and he seems to be okay. So
Miss Rona paid a visit.
I'm hoping not,
allegedly,
because Britt Baker could be on Collision on Saturday if she's doing better, because that's about the same amount of time. So that is the hope. But they pushed this match back to next week to be the only women's match next week.
Because now you're dealing with COVID protocols and you're in Canada and different country stuff, and that's going to get messy, clunky, weird. So I hope it's not the Rona. You hope it's not. You just hope it's standard, hey, I'm feeling sick, I'm feeling this.
Exactly. But you got to check everything. But so we had Ruby Soho taking on local Hamilton talent, Alexia Nicole, who wasn't terrible, but definitely was very camera shy the entire time.
Sure. And I was telling this to my wife. What they do in these towns when they have a squash is they find local talent, they bring them in, they give them a shot on TV, they get to put that on their resume, meet with everybody. It's usually a squash match because I keep saying squash. Because they don't have a lot of time to rehearse or work. They get a few bits together, bang, boom, gone. I'm going to spray paint.
And it's a tryout match for the other person, basically, to say, like, how do you sell? How can you make the other person look amazing? If you can do that, you can do that with anybody. So, obviously.
Absolutely.
This was one.
I did not hate the promo that came up after it.
Yeah.
It was unexpected anyway, the way things were falling. So I thought they did the most they could.
How do you feel about them, because of the whole setup and the quick turnaround, having Ruby Soho basically win with Britt Baker's finisher? Like, basically sticking it to her that I can do your stuff as well as you can.
It's fine. I've seen it a lot lately, but it's fine.
I wasn't talking to you, Mikey.
Oh, wow. Got thrown back in the tertiary closet. I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with Mikey, though. It doesn't bother me. I think there was a time where that used to be a personal thing, right? Where wrestlers were like, that's my thing, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't ring as a personal dig to me anymore. It's just, oh, you did this thing. Cool.
I did also enjoy the half-ass stomps from Toni Storm and Saraya on the side in the beginning of the match when they rolled Alexia out. They're like, she either tripped over the belt or something else and just didn't lay him in, so they looked a little weird. And then Saraya's coming over, and also just like in her lift heel, she couldn't do it too. So I'm like, oh gods! And this is the only one on there. They have so many talented women. Why aren't there more women's matches?
Be prepared, because we'll talk about this at the end. But I'm excited because Willow has 2 women's matches at a different company's event, and we're getting the dream match I never thought we were going to get, but we got
Mae Young versus the Moon.
No. Willow versus my girl Julia from Stardom. I'm like, let's fucking go.
Oh shit. Okay.
That'll be fun. But yes, this was a match. This was a match. It was a squash match, and it did what it was supposed to do to get us to wait until next week. But I love that Ruby Soho got used. She hasn't wrestled in a while. Yes. I'm happy to see her wrestle.
I was going to say, I was trying to think of the last time I saw Ruby Soho. I'm also a Punk kid and a Rancid fan, so I'm always going to Ruby Soho. I have no chance. Okay. So then this happened.
This happened. Oh, first we had the Johnny TV promo.
Get it out. Bye.
Ooh, I don't know who he is.
That's John Morrison.
No one does.
He has
a different name in every company.
I was like, you got an 8-pack and a nicer shirt than me.
That's Taya Valkyrie's husband.
Yes, okay. One. So I'm pretty sure they're going to bring that up with having Harley Cameron there, and then the two of them are going to fight, and this is going to be a weird thing. But I will also say, John, for you, Professor, this guy, John Morrison, Johnny Nitro, Johnny everything else, he's
Johnny Drip Drip.
Johnny Drip Drip. He's if you yelled parkour and then made that a human.
Really?
Yeah, literally the concept of yelling parkour, and then you have a human made out of that.
But like puts that in the ring and makes it look good, or like
he's amazing. He's an insane gymnast and parkour expert. He does amazing stuff. But he literally is. If you took the concept of yelling parkour, not even like parkour itself, but like the douchebags who yell it as they do it. Oh yeah, that is Johnny Nitro. That is Johnny.
And why? I wish I cared about this promo.
There's nothing to do. It's QT TV. No one does.
Okay. I need Johnny TV to get away from QT Marshall and the Void Factory as fast as possible. So let's just get this over with.
Yeah, all right. And I know Taya Valkyrie is going to be involved because if they have Harley Cameron there doing her stuff, and I want to see how she's going to do in the ring finally again because she's wrestling a bit more, but it's going to be a feud between those two over Johnny because you can see like he's uncomfortable being around her. Like, I'm married, man. Don't do what you're doing.
I mean, might as well because we wrapped up Chris versus Taya's feud like a week and a half ago immediately. I'm still bitter about that. But
yeah, that had some legs. But either way, that might come down the pike. And also the fact of just putting on something, like giving him something to do other than just being a doofus for QT Marshall will be a lot more fun. Right. Why did you bring him in?
Honestly.
I am intrigued. Yeah. I'm more intrigued now after hearing from you than before. I was just, great, you got abs. I don't know who you are.
And the name is terrible. So
Johnny I would have preferred Johnny Telemundo. That would have been hilarious to me. But
full Lucha Underground at this point, so
anyone as a John, and I'm sure as another John, you'll understand. anyone that does the Johnny something and there's a thing after it, immediately overrated, in my opinion. Johnny football, Johnny basketball, Johnny cat, Johnny plumber. It's
Lord just, help us.
I don't. Johnny ski team. Like I know it's in your name. That means you're bad at it.
While the professors they're collecting themselves, we get the bumpers for Rampage and Collision. There's a lot that I was like, okay, like Rampage is just its own void. Hikaru Shida versus Taya should be fun.
Sure.
That's a hope.
There's a Ring of Honor World Championship out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, I'm not upset, but honestly, Collision's going to be interesting because we have a TBS championship. Hey, Chris, love you. Samoa Mimosa Joseph is going to squash Roderick Strong. That's going to be fun.
He's going to squash generic white guy.
Right? He's really going to... Samoa Joe's going to squash generic white guy.
No,
Powerhouse Hobbs is going to decimate...
Sunday?
That's on Collision on Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Which will be at the same time as Money in the Bank. So it's going to be a little after. Money in the Bank's earlier, luckily, but still.
Yeah. Money in the Bank is at 12 p.m. for us Western
States. It's at lunch versus at 3 p.m. for me, but I'm still sitting there going, I was thinking to myself, after Money in the Bank, when they're back in the States again, they're going to have Collision up against PPVs. This is going to be an interesting night.
This should be interesting, but let's see. Yeah, because then
when are we getting Thunder Rosa back? Because they were in the promos and they were looking amazing.
Miro's promo had me fucking dying. It's just like, I must renounce my god, my gold, and most importantly, I must renounce my woman. I was dying. I was like, damn it, Miro.
My wife, who I have sex with at all times.
That promo between him and Julia Hart was so funny. It's just like, only one woman is allowed to touch me, and you are not her.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Professor, the things you missed on Rampage.
The most important match on Collision is Ricky Starks taking on the honeycomb monster himself, Juice Robinson. I cannot unsee it now.
So I gotta check in with
Frog, but you're right.
I guess I gotta check in on Rampage more often because it seems like
this was Rampage a while back when Rampage was his own thing.
Yeah.
This was like a couple of years ago, but
okay.
Honestly, if you're gonna watch any of the AEW product, Dynamite, and so far Collision is where it's at. Rampage is great. Usually when we're getting into pay-per-views because they use like whatever. Anyways, and then Dynamite next week we have. Again, I still think you should have swapped, but you have Orange and Darby, which somehow works. We already have one Can They Coexist tag team with MJF and Adam Cole. I don't feel like we need another one with Lee and Swerve, but we'll see what happens. And this is only like 3 of the teams that we know. We're missing one more team, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
It's going to be an interesting tournament. But getting back to this week's Dynamite, finally, our final match of the night, an actual video game stipulation come to life.
God damn.
You get to see a tornado tag team match outside of playing it on No Mercy. So happy. And I wonder if they did it just because the game was releasing the next day.
Honestly, I would not be surprised, but this match was a lot. This match was a lot.
Oh, look, we have a visitor.
Hey, that's my wife who just went in the closet.
Hi. We're sorry you have to watch weird, shitty, sexy things.
I was going to turn off the camera, but I can't.
No, you better not.
My wife had to walk into Narnia. She'll be back in a while.
Either way, so this was the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, which on my feed did not show his entrance. So it just cut to them in the ring. But I got to see his partner, Sammy Guevara, out there with all of his cue cards, which was awesome. So I saw all that stuff go down, and I thought that actually worked really well because it's a good throwback to what he used to do, but they were written really well. And then Sting! And Darby.
You popped your mic on my end. I didn't hear you.
He was just yelling Sting.
Sting. No, it was quite funny.
And I yelled this way, so I wasn't getting the mic.
I don't... Okay. Should we talk about the moment, or should we talk about the match?
Let's start with the match, then we can talk about the moment afterwards.
Yes.
Because the first moment of this, the lightsaber battle with the bats.
Why?
I thought to myself, I'm like, 2-3-2-3. Well, that's interesting.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, it was a 3-3. Okay. That's
an inside stage combat reference for you.
So I'll put this out there. As an advanced actor combatant with the Society of American Fight Directors, teaching a stage combat class for the city of Chico currently, and a movement teacher, and I teach 6 weeks of stage combat in there as well. Bat fights aren't real. Bat fights don't exist. You don't parry a bat. You run away. Are you the king and queen in Narnia? Have you been away for 40 years?
I have.
Mrs. Tumnus.
And it requires me to go find chocolate.
Oh.
Sorry, Mrs. Tumnus.
Can we call you Mrs. Tumnus? Is that okay? She said, all right. Okay. I'm going to try that out later, and I'll let you know how it feels when she...
You're going to try Mrs. Tumnus out later? Okay, that's your own thing if you want. But
a lot of jokes per second. But
back to this, yes, a bat fight doesn't happen, but they wanted the sound effects so bad, and it looked like he was not trying.
They really wanted that ting-ting T-bat sound thing for some reason. And it's goofy to me. It doesn't work. Yeah. The bat thing works, from my opinion, and this is partly fight choreo brain, this is wrestling brain. If you pull out a bat, don't use it. You look tougher not using it. Because the moment you use a bat, you're breaking bones.
Which was good at least for when Sting had to break the walls of Jericho, because no rope breaks, of course, grab Floyd and whack him in the face.
A reason to use it, bang, as opposed to just ting. It's like, it just comes off silly to me.
No, the Ting Tings were a band, and that's not their name, but that's okay.
It just comes off as, if I don't know if they have a Dick's Sporting Goods out where any of y'all are, but there's always two kids in the back. There's always two kids in the back. Hi, BB. There's always two kids in the back playing with bats. Usually my son, who just said hi to me too.
Yeah,
he's like, I found this. Crack, crack. Come on.
Because they want to hear the sound. Yeah, it was stupid. And I feel like Darby and Sammy carried this the best they could for the two older guys in the ring that were definitely not.
I will say Jericho is moving way better than I think Sting is moving.
Yeah, and then they did the classic thing in every Sting match now, which is there's no holds barred, nothing else. Get him in the crowd where Sting can basically rest for a bit and like punch around and let the other guys do the work.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is go to the audience, so no matter what, we're sold, and then whatever we do. But then we got cursed by the dreaded picture-in-a-picture, so I missed all the awesome in the crowd stuff. Because
I was watching the BT Sport feed, so I saw it all.
I saw a quarter camera shot of it, and I'm sure it was awesome. I'm trying to watch it, but then I get so frustrated I jump past it.
Here's the biggest thing that I got away from it, which was funny. That when they came around the corner and they're coming back toward the ring, Sting was still beating up Jericho a bit, but Jericho like ran away from him. And at the time, Darby had Guevara in some sort of like headlock or something else. And I'm like, why isn't Jericho running over to knock Darby off of him? And basically, and it seemed like the two groups were not talking to each other the whole time. Sting was slowing down. So there was just some miscommunication there, a couple of really good bumps. And by the time they get back to the ring, Guevara was on top again, just like knocking shit around. It was intense. And then the tables got set up.
Lord, let's talk.
You saw it, and Taz is trying to direct traffic.
Oh, he tried to cover it so bad.
Because when that table comes out, the table one is already broken. The leg is coming off the bottom of that table, and it's ugly looking. So and Taz is already trying to put out there, oh, hey, that one's a little, that one doesn't look so good. You better be careful with that table. That one's this, and it's trying to get any message to them, hey, that one's broken.
But at the same time, because of that, I think Darby didn't drag it to where he needed to. He put it too far away.
Those tables were way too far.
Way too far.
His up where he was supposed to do it. Sting did his job and set his up. And I'm like, at this point, I still didn't think Sting was going to jump. I thought because of how far it was going to be, they were going to change it on the fly and make Darby do it. And they didn't.
Do you think this was the bit? Do you think it was supposed to be one or the other, and then Sting said, I want it?
I honestly think Sting was always going to be the one to jump off. It's just that it hurt more watching him version.
It was 5 feet too far.
Yeah,
by the way,
done this in a lot of his matches. So, yeah,
but cameraman, good job on cutting to that one dude in the crowd. His face was my face when they recognized that Sting was going to be the one who was going to jump through the tables.
Because he literally,
he stops.
He's no me.
Yeah, so Darby is getting on top of this ladder, ready to jump off, and then Sting climbs, and they just have this like non-verbal exchange. They're like, I go, you go. And then they cut to this dude in the audience. His facial expression was mine. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, don't do it. I was like, no, please don't. And then Darby proceeds to climb down. Sting jumps off. It looks like his landing
So let's break this down. The jump was amazing.
Yeah.
The jump was fantastic. The problem with geometry, and I'm not a math person, you're already set the ladder up at an angle and this is too far away. You're never going to make it.
And did you see at the end there, he realized he was coming up short and he tried to frog splash a little farther and
he didn't make it.
Yeah. He thinks he broke a tooth.
So I had it here. Where'd you go?
Because he was bleeding later.
So what I saw, he definitely, landed the body to body on Sammy. Fine, got there. The moment his lower lip and chin hit that table, you see the change of his expression, and that's what worried me. Was that sort of bang and that face of, I fucked up. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because if you get hit there, your jaw has popped, your ears probably ringing, you're a little numb because that just jarred your skull. Why
do these crazy matches that involve Sammy always end up with a scary spot happening? There was this match, and then JVL here will remember. Yeah, JVL will remember broken Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara 2 years ago.
Oh my god, yeah.
We've talked about this.
Where Matt Hardy literally hit the concrete floor and literally knocked himself out, and then they continued the match anyways.
So apparently Sting had a botch. Oh wait, no, that's not right. Hang on.
He also had a botch at Forbidden Door, but that one wasn't as bad.
I just saw that's what came up. I was trying to find it. It was like, I guess he had a Forbidden Door botch
because Sting didn't get up in time when Sammy went down on the table, and so Sammy caught him through the table. But this one was really bad.
Yeah, that was he hit his hip twice in 4 days, really badly, and his head.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Coming out of WrestleZone, apparently Sting needs a bunch of stitches.
Yeah,
he noted that his tooth felt like it had been knocked out.
Yep,
but it Claudio Castagnoli situation.
Oh, but it was worth it, and he thanked Tony Khan for the opportunity.
Oh God,
Sting be flopping through all the tables because I remember when he went through the stack of 4 tables during that Falls Count Anywhere match versus Andrade a couple pay-per-views ago.
Off the entryway. He jumped off the freaking entryway.
But Sting's jump was great, but it was like a cartoon. Where
the tables were too far.
No.
At the end, I don't know if any of you saw, I tried to pause it to take a picture of it. I just couldn't do it. He does the Mick Foley thing where he uses his tongue to check and see where his lip is, and it's definitely in 2. It's definitely not there.
And the only thing that saved it from being worse is that because he's got that weird soul patch all the way down, you couldn't tell with the blood running down that it was split in 2. It just looked like he was bleeding from the mouth. So he got it up, finished the match, which God love him. I don't know how he pulled that off, and got Jericho to tap, which was insane.
Yeah.
And they cut the match right away, because they went overtime. They went overtime last night
for the first time in forever.
Tony Schiavone being like, "We're in overtime." I was like, "Okay, we're in overtime. Great."
I need the commentator team to take it down a couple of notches because they were starting to get on my nerves during Forbidden Door.
I don't think they realize they can do a little less and they'll be just fine. It's okay. I think part of them is, I'm happy to have a job. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here.
Sting is 64.
Yep.
64-year-old man in face paint jumping off a ladder onto someone.
And once that spot happened, when that spot happened, Darby was like, oh shit mode, and he carried the rest of the match up into the finishing sequence by fighting Jericho. Ladders were thrown. Darby came in with the skateboard at one point.
Got trucked in the spine with the skateboard, which does not feel good if that's ever happened to you.
And then Sting comes in all bloodied up to put Jericho in
the Scorpion Deathlock.
Where Jericho taps, and you're winners of this match, Sting and Darby Allin, as the camera pans out to see all the carnage that happened in this match. And I'm like...
And not get Sting's messed up face.
Yep.
They do for a second.
Yes.
Sting
I saw that. I was like,
I tried to pause it about 10 times, and I couldn't get it. But it's definitely... Oh, that's great. Cut away.
Nice. Like but so, John, what'd you think of Dynamite this week?
If I'm using the mini scale, which we usually use on the other podcast, it had the potential to be way up, 4 out of 5 minis. It could have been way up and in there. We had too many botches. We had too many clunky things. It was a very average show to me. There were some moments that I don't want to say the botches brought it down because that's a disservice because that shit happens. Those are accidents. Those are spots. The misplaced storytelling that led to those botches brought the whole thing down. So it felt very solid C- to me.
Yeah.
If we had described this match out of context and been like, Sting jumps off a ladder, Vikingo gets caught by Keith Lee. If we described this out loud and be like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The execution was just an off night. They had an off night. And that shit happens.
And it's the after the pay-per-view one as well, so there's a lot of hype coming out of it. People are watching that are not doing it, so it's tough when you do. You're right, about middle of the road. Good week for Dynamite, but could have been better. But when you're coming off a pay-per-view, you need to still be spot on with what you're doing. And there were some definite sparks of inspiration that could definitely grow into something else, and I'm waiting to see what it is. I wasn't bored watching it.
Not at all.
I was worried watching it. I wasn't bored.
Yes.
And then on top of that, too, with the pace that the rest of AEW's summer and early fall looks like, too, I'm just hoping the roster takes care of themselves because it's packed. So we just had this Dynamite after Forbidden Door. In 3 weeks, we have Blood and Guts. We have this blind tag team eliminator tournament. We have the Owen Hart tournament. Then we're getting All In August, and the week later we get All Out, and then September 20th, as they announced on Dynamite tonight, is
All in between. Sorry, what?
Is Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium for Dynamite and Rampage.
Yeah, they're only having 4 pay-per-views a year. That's not the thing. So
I think this show, sure, it was the letdown off of pay-per-view. I'm sure the lineup changed because of injuries and people missing. So who knows when they're supposed to go where and spot and sicknesses. So I would chalk a lot of that up to that. They're still goddamn professionals, and they did amazing work.
They did, yes.
They fought to make every match worth that ticket price. If I had bought tickets to this, I would have been like, yeah, I got my money's worth for a ticket. Absolutely.
Oh, easily.
Absolutely, I did.
Easily.
I might still be worried because maybe I didn't catch everything, but I still would have had a blast.
I think now, John, what this means is that going forward, they've got a lot of room to play with. They've got a lot of places to go. With the amount of pay-per-views coming up, it's going to be tough to see if they can make storylines stick because they're going to be building to so many big events. But I think also this means you and I have to try to talk to each other more watching this when we're watching it, or do some live watch-alongs because they're going to be in good space to watch.
I think so. I agree. Yeah, maybe we could talk to the mic and maybe land some of those down on Wednesday nights, or time zone-wise, we could figure something like that out. Because some of this, I think, our live reaction would be quite interesting to. Hey, what just happened? Hey,
yeah.
Being able to record our live reaction during Forbidden Door is just on a whole different scale than us.
Check it out on the Vibe Tribe. Go look for it. You want?
I'm gonna go watch it twice.
You're gonna have to hear it twice.
Yeah, we can't. We can't YouTube the thing because copyright. Let's get mad about that.
New Japan and
AEW. Any final thoughts on the June, right? Gosh, we're almost in July. The June 28th Dynamite. Any final things we left with?
Please don't kill Sting.
Please don't kill Sting. If you're over 60, don't get on a ladder. Just don't get on a ladder. You don't.
And if you're Jungle Boy,
I need you to slow down because I want you to be.
Take it
slow down.
80%, 85%.
I want you healthy to take on Kenny in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Among other ones. And honestly, Jungle Boy, pay some better writers.
Also, Kyle Fletcher may have had some words after that. I'm banging the hottest chick in the AEW locker room, and he just quote tweets, "LOL, nah," because as it was reported,
is that true?
Kyle Fletcher and Sky Blue are now a thing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Perry, you might have struck out on that one.
I don't know. NJ's not bad, but yes. Either way, this has been the Dynamite Review. You have been amazing as the professor. You have been amazing as the tertiary, and I have been JVL. And we hope you'll join us next week when we do this all again.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all next time. Mikey, any socials we need to know about?
Make sure to follow us at various iterations of BC WrestlePod on the Instagrams, TikToks, and Twitters. If you liked a more short, condensed form of this review, check out those social medias for the Beat the Clock, where these two attempt to review Dynamite in under 5 minutes. Also, to make sure, give us a subscribe on the YouTube channel. We have these long-form reviews. We review the pay-per-views, but we also have our new series, Hot Tag, in which our host Adolfo takes all the wrestling news and breaks it down in 2 to 3 minutes for your short-term video viewing content.
Not to mention, he's also very hot as well, so it's a both.
Listen, that's why we're the Bi-Conics. Hey?
I love that this is canon now. This is just no term we use.
Jeez Louise.
Short
But yes, that is going to be it for this week's Dynamite. Next week, you will only be stuck with the Professor and JVL, as I will be on vacation. So
much deserved.
Yes, hopefully they don't burn the studio down when I'm gone.
It'll be close. It'll be close.
Well, if we do that, then the Professor's house is going to burn down in that fire zone, so we don't want to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that. But until next week's Dynamite, that is going to be all. Until then, adios and sayonara. And we're out. God damn it.